Have you ever wondered if you could make a utopia in the middle of a desert? Just me? You probably haven't, but I have. Today, we discuss if it's possible. Oftentimes, utopias are found at the crossroads of two or more problems. And it's only when these problems become so unwieldy and so unsolvable that creators begin trying to solve them. Arcosanti is no different. It stems from an idea of lessening human impact on nature. In the 1960s, an Italian named Paolo Soleri noticed that most cities in existence had some vastly damaging effect on the local environment and ecosystem due to the nature of ever taller buildings, ever sprawling cities, ever expanding resource consumption, and ever increasing waste production. Some people could even say that this Paolo guy was like Al Gore before Al Gore.
That the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years.
I mean, truth be told, I am not one of those people, but someone could say that. Actually, this guy sounds to me more like Climate Town, but with money. And that's no knock on Climate Town. I mean, the dude creates fantastic videos, and I'm sure with the amount of views he gets versus this channel, he's raking in the money.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Williams, a sort of discount Burt Reynolds type and a climate science and policy grad student. Welcome to Climate Town.
But Paolo Soleri's answer to lessening the impact of humans on the natural environment was quite simple. It was Arcology. In its simplest form, Arcology is a combination of the words architecture and ecology. It's a field of creating architectural design principles for densely populated areas, which ultimately have a very low ecological impact, whether those environmental areas be the desert, the ocean, the beach, the forest, etc. Soleri believed that Arcology would provide space for a variety of residential, commercial, and agricultural opportunities while minimizing individual human environmental impact, while simultaneously increasing human interaction with the surrounding natural environment. To this end, he began to dream up Arcosanti, his attempt to prove the viability of Arcology. And as Soleri himself put it, the problem I'm confronting is the present design of cities, only a few stories high, stretching outward in unwieldy sprawl for miles. As a result, they literally transform the earth, turn farms into parking lots, wasting enormous amounts of time and energy transporting people, goods, and services over their expanses. And he went on to say that his solution was urban implosion rather than urban explosion. Roads would be abolished as they were seen as divisive constructs, which, to be fair, they literally do divide land. There'd also be no air conditioning during the summer, and no light bulbs would be used during the day. And no, you couldn't call Sears and have them come in to fix this.
I cannot live another day without air conditioning.
Says tomorrow's gonna be hotter.
Hotter?
Like yesterday.
Yesterday? Yesterday you said you'd call Sears.
I'll call today.
You call now.
I'll call now.
That might be a super dated reference to people who watch this video. I don't even think Sears is in business anymore. His design also called for work and living spaces to be nearly indistinguishable from each other. To be fair, most of us work from home now. This was an attempt to bring the human race back to its roots, to combine the knowledge of humanity with the minimalism and alleged wisdom that comes from being more in tune with one's environment. To be fair, that's probably a bit too simplistic, but it helps to understand Arcology and Arcosanti as a more extreme version of landscape architecture. One in which not only do the buildings become part of the landscape, but so too do the people, their livelihoods, and their possessions. So Larry picked a location about 70 miles north of Phoenix, Arizona, called Paradise Valley, for the permanent home of his idyllic city. Built with the original desire to house 5,000 residents, Arcosanti is home to currently only about 80, most of whom are employed by the not-for-profit Cosanti Foundation. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because the Cosanti Foundation was established in 1965 by none other than Paolo Soleri and his wife Collie. Cosanti is the combination of two Italian words, cosa and anti, which literally translates to before things. The Foundation's mission is to explore the experiential and educational benefits of integrating architecture and ecology. Makes sense. To this end, it promotes frugality and resourcefulness, ecological accountability, experiential learning, and a limited footprint. It also offers numerous internships and workshops to support its tenants. You could, I won't here, but you could, very easily make the argument that Arcosanti is simply another company town, much like Hershey, Pennsylvania, or even Epcot. Speaking of those, check out these other videos about their utopian attempts. However, instead of a for-profit company, the city revolves around a non-profit organization. This foundation employs most of the inhabitants of Arcosanti. It also subsidizes meals and living arrangements, and it pays them. And at least some of that money is spent within Arcosanti itself. Arcosanti tries to find the perfect balance between a concept many of us learned in middle school science class.
Science rules.
That the form and function of living things allow said living things to survive, and indeed are the reason they can thrive. Or in other words, there's a direct relationship between the structure of a thing and how it functions. What Arcosanti attempts to do is manifest this relationship between form and function into how humans live their everyday lives by manipulating how they interact with their environment, both man-made and not. As a result, most of what you see in Arcosanti is specifically designed to be maximally beneficial to the needs of humans who use it, while simultaneously minimizing the impact that these human necessities have on the surrounding environment. While creating Arcosanti, Soleri began thinking about the city as a new biological organism, a pretty revolutionary way of thinking for the time. Some of the roofs in Arcosanti oftentimes doubled as stairs, and buildings often blended into one another through a network of hallways, which minimized the materials used in creating these structures as well as eliminates the need for roads. But it doesn't stop there. Offices are built on top of greenhouses, which are heated by the sun, causing the air from the greenhouses to rise and heat the subsequent levels of the building, even in the winter. Heat and clean air wrapped into one centralized green HVAC system. Even the windows, most of them circular, were created so that the sun would illuminate the totality of rooms throughout different parts of the day and year, reducing the need for light bulbs. However, I would like to take this time to note, as I'm sure you've been wondering, the city does indeed have Wi-Fi and access to beer. In fact, some tour guides actually go out of their way to share these facts with tourists who may be a little wary that they've accidentally just stepped into a cult.
So you joined a cult?
It's not a cult.
Well, that's what a cultist would say.
Regardless of how cult-like it feels, and surely it must feel a little like a cult if tour guides have to caution visitors against this type of feeling. The city's ability to harness the power of the local environment for human use without vastly damaging the environment in the process is without a question. Energy requirements remain extremely low in this desert environment, yet its citizens don't find the lack of energy a discomfort. Many of the foundational principles of Arcosanti can be found in Soleri's 1969 book, Arcology, The City in the Image of Man. If up until this point you were wondering if we could actually define Arcosanti as a utopia, I'm happy to reveal to you that Soleri's book already does that for us. Not that we should necessarily take his word for it, but hey, it's a good start. As you may have guessed, one topic discussed in his book is Arcosanti. Described by Soleri as an alternative to urban disaster, Soleri designed Arcosanti as the home of the Cosanti Foundation, as a way of perpetually investigating and experimenting with archaeological concepts. Much like Walt Disney's idea for Epcot to be perpetually innovating and enhancing society. At the time of the book's writing, Soleri envisioned a mini Arcosanti, one that could be tested and studied and then ultimately developed for a mass-populated city. He saw a community of 1,500 people that covered 6 acres and only extended 150 feet into the air. Due to the nature of the model, as a means of education and study, he didn't anticipate families living in the city. Rather, students and apprentices, who would be working, learning, living, and playing under one metaphorical roof. While the city hasn't lived up to the scale that Soleri originally envisioned, it is still nonetheless operational. And who knows, maybe one day it'll grow to his 1,500 citizens, or beyond and be a guiding light for future utopias. And everyone, That's Arcosanti. My question for you is a rather important one. What other utopian ideas would you like to see explored on this channel? I'd like to get as much feedback from you guys as possible to tailor this channel to things that you all find interesting. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and follow us on social media so you can stay up to date on all utopian news. And feel free to check out another video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time, and remember that the future is out there.